there, book friends. I'm Addie, and this is Books and Tea Time, and we're starting a new vlog today. We are going to be reading about mythological babes. A few weeks ago, I posted a reading vlog where I did a theme, and the theme was feminists, witches, and outlaws, or something along those lines. I'll have a card to that video, but I got some positive feedback on the themed reading vlogs, and I liked filming it, so I'm gonna try it again and hopefully turn this into a series because I love mythology. That's no secret if you've seen one of my videos before. This whole shelf up here has a bunch of mythology on it from various pantheons, but I want to branch out, read from even more pantheons, and I just really want to read anything that is mythology inspired, whether it's retellings or stories about gods and goddesses or anything related to mythology. So episode 1 of my mythology vlogs series, or what I hope is going to turn into a series, is going to be mythological babes, because I have a couple of books here that center women in mythological stories that have been silenced by the myths in tradition, or who are presented in very negative or ways that lack nuance or lack interesting plot points, anything like that. So we've got a couple books here that I hope to get to this week, but let's just quickly dive in because we're gonna start first and foremost with Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So I just recently mentioned in my previous reading vlog where I try and break my reading slump, which I successfully did, patting myself on the back. I'm back in a reading mood and I'm loving it, and I had actually started Ariadne on vacation, but I only read about 50 pages of it, and since then I have been flying through it. I am now on page 205, part 3, so I'm really excited to finish this in this vlog and talk to you guys about it. But essentially this book follows Ariadne, who is a princess of Crete, and she helps Theseus escape and kill her brother the Minotaur, and then a bunch of other stuff happens. I feel like if I tell you too much other stuff, it'll verge on spoilers, but we'll talk about my thoughts and how I'm feeling about it so far. But I am reading this and flying through it, and this is going to be the first book that we tackle, is finishing this. And then after that, I have 2 other books. I hope that I can finish both of these in this vlog, but at the very least I want to start both of them because they're both library books. So I own Ariadne, but I don't own either of these, so I really want to get cracking on them so that I can return them in time. But first, we have The Girl and the Goddess, Stories and Poems of Divine Wisdom by Nikita Gill. And I saw this at a bookstore, and I just ended up not buying it for whatever reason, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was kicking myself for not buying it. So I found it at the library, and I'm so glad that I did, because I'm so excited to read it, because it is fiction, poems, and short little story paragraphs. I just don't read a lot of poetry, period, so I'm excited to try this out. And I'm just gonna read you the back because it's the most enchanting and intriguing and moving synopsis, and I can't imagine what the reading experience is going to be like. So the back says, meet Paro, a girl of a strong will, a full heart, and much to learn. Born into a family reeling from the ruptures of partition in India, we follow her as she crosses the precarious lines between childhood, teenage discovery, and realizing her adult self. In the process, Paro must confront fear, desire, and the darkest parts of herself in the search for meaning and ultimately empowerment. I just feel like it's going to be so thrilling and exciting, and we've got the goddess imagery and this communion with divinity theme that I think is so cool. And the cover is gorgeous. I love it so much. It immediately caught my attention. And then after that, I have another one that is really similar to, but I think different enough from Ariadne that I'll like it, and I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and that is 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. And first of all, it's blurbed on the front by Madeline freaking Miller, author of The Song of Achilles and Circe, and Noelle Gallagher just read this and said that she really, really liked it, and said that it was really surprisingly different from Circe and Song of Achilles, even though it is about the Trojan War, so you're getting some overlap in story and overlap in characters, but she said that Haynes has a lot of unique perspective to offer and really beautiful writing, and I'm just so excited to dive into this. It follows several different women, and I think some goddesses too, from the Trojan War period and their experience, I guess, before, during, and after the Trojan War. So those are our 3 nonfiction priorities for this vlog. I'm so excited to read these. Hopefully I'll finish all 3 of them, but yeah, so welcome. Baby Yoda says welcome. I purchased so many things. So first things first, I finished Ariadne last night, and I'm gonna give you the 411. I put this back in here upside down. Oops. I'm gonna give you the 411 and my thoughts in a second, but first I have a mini Target and Marshall's haul because I went shopping and I bought a bunch of stuff. Only some of it I needed. I guess we'll start with Marshall's because it's really only one thing, but I really needed new work pants because I'm a waitress at like a wedding and event hall, and we have to wear like nice black slacks, and I only have 1 pair right now and they suck. I found 2 pairs for like 40 bucks and they look nice, and now I have 2 pairs and I can throw the other ones in the garbage. Work pants, such an exciting purchase. Those I actually did need because I have to work tomorrow and I need something to wear. The other clothing item, I bought these really cute comfy shorts from Target just because I always feel like I need like cozy, just like lounge around shorts. And my favorite pair currently have a huge hole right in the crotch, and that's just embarrassing, even if I only wear them at home. So I needed a new pair. Milo's crying, hold on. Milo, you want to come in? Oh, good boy. Good boy. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I didn't buy anything for you. Although I did order him a new collar today. I found these like customizable collars on Amazon where you can put like their name and your phone number. So if like they ever get lost, they can call you. So, excuse me. First thing I didn't need that I did buy were these mugs because they were for $3, and I was like, oh my god, a mug for $3? And then I was like, well, I might as well get 2 because that makes sense. So I got this really cute mug that says, ooh, more self-love. Again, $3 for this large mug. And then I also got this one with a flower. So we've got these, Milo. Got deodorant because I needed deodorant. I really like this one from Native, lavender and rose. So I really love the Rimmel pressed powder to set my makeup and stuff, and they didn't have it. Like Target keeps downsizing their Rimmel like area, which whatever, but like they didn't have it. So I'm trying a new powder, and I went on a whim and got the Neutrogena Healthy Skin pressed powder in the shade 10 Fair because we got that vampire complexion. Oh, it has a mirror. Neat. Can you see yourself? Oh, how trippy is that? You can see me recording me on my phone. Then another purchase that I didn't need but that caught my attention. Are you tired, Milo? Is this eyeliner from NYX. It's the Epic Wear Liner Stick in the shade Graphic Purple, because I wanted to get a little crazy and a little creative and try a color, and purple's my favorite color. Now let's quickly talk about Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So I finished this last night. I stayed up until like 12 finishing it, and I really liked it. So what's weird is I feel like for the first like 100 to 150 pages of reading this book, it felt like a solid like 3, maybe 3.5 stars. And then after that ending, it was giving me just like such 4-star vibes, but I really liked it. I thought the ending was incredible and it was really surprising, and I think this is a personal thing because I don't really know much about Ariadne, and I feel like all of the mythological figures and characters and like gods, goddesses, deities, all the people that we meet, I know very little about. So it's about Ariadne, but we also get perspectives from her younger sister Phaedra, which I thought was kind of cool. There's also like the Minotaur myth, and Theseus is in this, and then there's some gods and goddesses featured. I feel like it might be a little bit of a spoiler to tell you who is in it, so I won't say it because it's not on the inside of the dust jacket. And I just feel like, honestly, for me, even though I love mythology, I didn't know much about Ariadne, and for me, I feel like that was better because it was almost like because I didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, when I read the Song of Achilles, I know what goes on in the Trojan War, I know what happens to Patroclus. When I was reading the Song of Achilles, I knew what was gonna happen, so I was able to just really enjoy the things that Madeline Miller added, and their, like, romance and the writing. But with Ariadne, I knew enough to situate myself in like the Greek moment and like kind of the timeline of what's going on in other myths that occur either before or after this, but I didn't know enough that I knew what was going to happen to Ariadne. So that was really exciting because I didn't know, and it was suspenseful, and like literally there were like 10 pages left, and I was like, how is this book gonna end? And the ending was really good, so I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. The writing is really great. I like Ariadne as a character. I think she's interesting to read from, and I think Jennifer Saint does a great job of foregrounding her and all of the other women that are victims of the wrath of gods and goddesses and of men, and presenting and pushing women to the forefront of the discussion, mortal or like demi-mortal women into the forefront of the discussion. I also started The Girl and the Goddess. Is that what it's called? I think it's what it's called. The Girl and the Goddess today. I only got like 30 pages in, but I'm already loving it so much. I already am gonna add it to my bookshop wish list so that I can get my own copy in the future and reread it, but for now I'm loving reading my library copy. We finished our first book and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling productive, and I'm definitely feeling like I really want to pick up 1,000 Ships soon. Peace out. Talk to you guys in a little while. Milo, say bye! Hello, it's me from the kitchen here to give you some updates on The Girl and the Goddess, because this book is divine. Pun intended. I am loving this book so much. I cannot tell you how easily this, like, I'm not even done with it yet, and this is easily skyrocketing to some of the best that I've read this year. Such a wonderful, powerful surprise pick that I just like happened to come across in a bookstore. I'm so glad. I cannot wait to get my hands on my own copy. I never want to let this one go, but it's a library book, so I've been using page flags just to mark passages that I want to read to you and that I wanted to like take a picture of, but I will take those out obviously before I return it to the library. But I can't wait to get my hands on my own copy so that I can annotate it and highlight and mark it up and just engage with this in a whole different way. Anyway, just a little more information on what this story is about, because I am currently on part 3. It's broken down into her childhood, Paro, who is our main character, her childhood, her teenage years, and then her like womanhood or her adulthood. And I have so far completed childhood and teenage years, so I'm like on page 225, I think. Yeah, I'm on page 226, so I've currently read about this much of the book, and I love it so much. It's beautiful. It's so many gorgeous threads woven together so expertly through the use of poetry. So you've got this thread about the divine and our main character's interaction with divinity and with gods and goddesses in history. There are these wonderful moments where either in a dream state or in like a meditation type state, our main character engages in conversations with different deities in Hindu mythology, and they come to her and they tell her stories. They impart their wisdom upon her, and then she uses that to make sense of the world around her. Like, for example, this is like one of the stories that they tell her, and they always have context for what's going on in her life, but they also just have this broader context and give you a taste of a lot of the Hindu mythology. Another central thread in this novel is partition in India and the effects of that on families in and around the location where the border is made to create Pakistan, and how all of that creates such a violent fallout among the local peoples, and how that is essentially just a result of England deciding to up and leave after colonizing and thrusting their imperialist flag in India. They decide to up and leave, and they draw a border, the British draw a border and create this place and kind of leave the people in India to deal with that fallout. And so we're watching that on a personal level and on a familial level, because Paro is kind of, as she's growing up, trying to understand what partition is and why all of this violence is happening. And like, there's a poem where she asks her dad what the word terrorist means, and she has to grapple with all of that in school and as she's growing up with that. Then there's also another thread where Paro, as she's growing up and coming into her personhood and her sexuality, is discovering that she might perhaps be bisexual, and there's a whole poem about that and learning about herself, and then also learning about and having to be fearful of this global mistreatment of LGBTQ plus folks, but also how that manifests particularly where she is at locally. And there's a lot of heartbreaking poems in here. I cannot praise this book enough. Please add it to your Goodreads list. Get it from a used bookstore, an indie bookstore, a small bookstore. Support your local library. If you can't purchase it right now, they have it at a library, or at least they have it at my library. If they don't have it at your library, request it. What's interesting is that Paro and her situation and her story and her personhood are so unique and specific to her, but at the same time, a lot of her experiences with spirituality and divinity, and even her relationship with her grandmother, is actually calling forth so many positive and empowering feelings for me personally. So I think I connect with Paro as well on a personal level, which is another reason why I love this. There's a whole poem, I'm going to read you an excerpt from it later, about her grandmother's house and how it's like a place of paradise for her, essentially. And it was just like, it brought me to tears. Like, I was tearing up, and so good. Right now I am trying to get my H2O in, so, and then I might organize our downstairs closet. I don't know. But just wanted to update you really quick on The Girl and the Goddess. It's amazing. So, peace out. Talk to you soon. Hey there, friends. I am freshly showered, hair still damp because I went to the gym for the second day in a row, which is absolutely unheard of for me. I'm trying to be better though. So I went to the gym and then I showered. So it's time for a reading update because I finished The Girl and the Goddess last night. I loved this book so much. 5 out of 5 stars. Easy. The writing, incredible. The third and final part was everything I wanted it to be and more. The ending was surprising, but also so perfect that I feel like I should have expected it, if that makes sense. But I love it. I can't wait to get my hands on a physical copy to reread it. But before I take these tabs out so that I can return this to the library, I just wanted to read you 1 or 2, perhaps, of my favorite of the poems, just so you guys can get a little taste if you weren't already convinced. So this is the poem that really struck me, one of my first favorites of the collection, and it is the poem about her grandmother's house. One day, somewhere in the future, someone with gentle eyes will ask me, "What does paradise look like to you?" And I will say, without skipping a beat, my grandmother's house. I suppose I should admit I am fortunate. People go their whole lives seeking paradise, and I've had it since I was born. A home, less home than it is God's own palace. A garden, less garden, and more cosmos, more universe. If there was a mouth to heaven, surely this would be it. Not because it is big, for it is small. Not because it is full of material riches, but because it is bursting with love. My grandmother opens her heart to people. This is why paradise lives here, in a quiet little house hidden behind lychee trees. One would almost forget until you hear gunshots that this is only 10 kilometers from the border, a source of my mother's constant worry. And maybe paradise looks different to you, but for me, it is here, and it is this. My Nani's arms are where my peace lives. If there was a mouth to heaven, surely this would be it. That's just a taste of the glory that is this book. Get your hands on it somehow. This morning, I was still in a very active reading mood, so I started 1,000 Ships, and I already read 100 pages today. I'm flying through this book. Another amazing book. This reading vlog has been so great. I also just love mythology, and I feel like that's reflecting in a lot of my enjoyment of these books because I am such a nerd when it comes to mythology, and I'm obsessed with everything about all these books. Meeting all of the Hindu gods that I know about and learning about Hindu gods and goddesses that I didn't already know about in this book was amazing. And same thing goes for this. I'm meeting new characters in Greek mythology and Greek myth that I didn't know, and also getting a new look at ones that I already do know. And it's amazing. This book is like a kaleidoscopic view of this Trojan War period, both during and right after. And you get so many women's perspectives that just give you this large panoramic view of this, not even panoramic, it's like a 3-dimensional view of this time period. It basically starts with the fall of Troy as a consequence of Odysseus's Trojan horse plan, and you are in the present following the Trojan women who are captured after the fall of Troy, but then also you're getting these bounces back in time as they're remembering the war, and you have these random moments with Calliope, who is a muse, and she talks to the reader in second person, and it is so good. The writing is so elegant and richly detailed, and it's sing-songy, it's melodic. It's a lot like the Song of Achilles in the writing, but not in plot. It's not the same story. It's not just hearing the same story written by a different author. This is really unique because you're just getting these little snippets, these chapters with different women, and it's just such a unique way to approach myth and approach this story and approach a retelling. I feel so spoiled by the literary gods and goddesses and deities of all the pantheons right now. It's amazing. Peace out. Hi there, friends. It's me again. Where's my book? I don't even know. I'm a little in another place right now. So I wanted to quickly just let you know that I have just over 100 pages left, and I don't know if I'm gonna read any more tonight, to be honest, because I read a lot today and I'm just kind of mentally drained right now. So I think I might watch a movie. I don't know. And I just wanted to say that even though I'm still enjoying it and I'm still really loving the writing style and a lot of the perspectives that we're getting, I'm having mixed feelings about some of the perspectives that we're getting. For example, I am rather disappointed with Penelope's perspective in particular. Penelope is the wife of Odysseus, and she is essentially left with an infant child at the beginning of the Trojan War, and Odysseus doesn't return for 20 years because he goes to the war for 10 years and then he does a bunch of sus stupid shit and ends up gone for 10 more years. And so Penelope's story is really interesting. I've actually read the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood, which is all from Penelope's perspective. It's really cool and it's very short. Penelope's perspective in this story, she is writing letters to Odysseus, but she's basically just summarizing the plot of the Odyssey in each of her letters to him, and we get barely like these little slivers of her, and like as the book is going on, she's getting a little more like aggressive in her language and suggesting that Odysseus is making bad decisions, and she's constantly critiquing him for that. And she does offer in some instances things that she would have done instead, kind of like the obvious easier answer or the smarter thing to do, the better thing to do, or the cleverer thing to do, even though Odysseus is like clever and very traditionally presented as very clever hero. Penelope is kind of challenging that and presenting herself as maybe a cleverer heroine. But for the most part, like 90% of her chapters, which are already kind of short and sparse and like few and far between, are her just summarizing what happens in the Odyssey. I already know that. I already know the story of the Odyssey. And like, I get it. Maybe it's making this more palatable to readers who don't know what happens in the Odyssey. But like, for me, a large point of this book is to get to know what happens to the female characters. Like, I don't give a shit what happens to Odysseus, even if I didn't know what happened to him, you know? So I would like a little more of Penelope and what's going on with her, because she has a very precarious situation, because a lot of people suggest that Odysseus is maybe dead and there are all these suitors that are coming into her home and trying to claim her hand, and she wants to be faithful to her husband and doesn't want to marry all these drunk guys who are coming and like claiming her home just because her husband isn't there, and she's raising a son. There's a lot of other stuff going on, and I'm just kind of disappointed with that. Additionally, I feel like the presentation of the goddesses, particularly Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena, like, I get that like they're shallow and trivial perhaps, but I would have liked some of their parts to be a little more nuanced. Like, I know that they're immortals and they just toy with the mortal world and mortal beings, and I know that like I don't want them to be presented as likable, but I would like a little more nuanced understanding behind their decisions, other than Aphrodite wanted to be chosen to be the most beautiful, and Eris was mad because she didn't get invited to a party, so she threw the apple. Like, I want a little more. Give me a little more. Give me some depth. Give me some complexity. Give me some of their inner thoughts. Maybe add a little bit. Don't just retell what evil shit they did to start and contribute to the beginning of the Trojan War, you know? On the other hand, I really do like the other perspectives that we're getting. I like all of the Trojan women because I feel like I'm learning a lot about them. And I really like what the author is doing by suggesting that they are ultimately given a worse fate than that of all of the men who are killed in the fall of Troy, because they go through their own sort of social death when they are made to be enslaved. And I really like Haynes's portrayal of how heroism for women looks different but is still heroic, even though it's not what heroic things like Achilles or Menelaus or Odysseus does. So I really like that. I like the exploration of the importance of discussing the death of women as well as the death of men, even if they are not as like epic or legendary as those men, or even if they are, but they're still women. Right now, I think I might watch live action Beauty and the Beast. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Hi there friends, we are here for the outro clip because I have finished the last book of this reading vlog today. I just read the last chunk of this book today and I'm so pleased. I'm very pleased. I will say that a lot of the gripes that I was voicing in the last clip were remedied somewhat in the latter half and like the final third of this book. Namely Penelope's chapters get a little closer to what I wanted from them. So there's still letters to Odysseus for the most part, and they are focused mostly on the plot of the Odyssey, but we get more of Penelope, and she gets a little sassier, a little more forgiving, and a lot more vocal about her struggles, and we get a lot more of what's going on with her while she is at home. Overall, this book was really, really great. Particularly, there's a couple sections later in the book where I'm really impressed by the imaginative quality of Haynes's writing and some of the things that some of like the almost plot twist revelation moments that she infuses into this narrative, and how she relates all these things ultimately going back to the start of the Trojan War. Eris's chapter and Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena's chapter could have used something else perhaps, and I'm still not sold on Penelope's chapters, but I think overall I'm gonna land at a 4-star rating for this book, with those few complaints the only thing that's really keeping it from a 5-star. And I recommend all 3 of these if you like mythology, from Ariadne to The Girl and the Goddess to 1,000 Ships. All of them are really, really well done. We had 2 4-stars and 1 5-star, so it was a really, really good reading week for me, and I read and finished 3 books this week, which is really, really great and impressive coming off the back of a reading slump that I just recently broke. I will definitely be doing more installments of this mythology vlog series. I want to do one all about Norse mythology and maybe one all about non-Western mythology, and focusing on different pantheons, maybe in Africa or some particular pantheons in Asia, things like that. So let me know what you want to see. I'm definitely obviously gonna do one dealing with Celtic mythology at some point as well, and because that's my shtick, that's my thing, my Irish shelf. So we'll be coming back to mythology, absolutely. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for coming and supporting my channel. It really does mean so much to me because this is my hobby and I really do love talking with you all. So please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam. And I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Bye!